Good morning. Our scheduled reading for today are the first three chapters of the Song of Solomon. We're going to look at the first four today, and then we'll look at 5 through 8 tomorrow, finish tomorrow. And then Sunday is worship, and Monday we will then start the book of Isaiah. So we're going to just kind of switch things so I get the Song of Solomon in a couple of days here. And this is a book that, many people wonder, well, why is this book even in the Bible? It's a love poetry. Depending, some Bibles have it designated he, she, or woman, man. There's so many different breakings in there. And one that I read this morning, it was she, and then I don't remember the whatever, but some of it is she, and then friends, and then he. It's a conversation. Part of it a conversation between them, but part of it the woman's dream, and part of it the man's dream. So it isn't all conversation. And some people have said that this isn't a conversation between Solomon and his bride, but it's between God and the Israelites. So you can look at it in an awful lot of different ways. The one deal I read, it says that the main characters are a man and a woman, and the daughters of Jerusalem serving as kind of the one who foils the woman's plans. And so there's quite a bit of drama in it, different places, it says, but it's one of those books. I think I'd much rather be talking about the reading from the New Testament today, which is Galatians chapter 2. But anyway, it puts it says the Song of Songs, which is Solomon's, and the Song of Songs. I mean, this is the very best of songs. And it's the best of the best, maybe, whatever. I don't really quite understand why they have that duplicate in the title there, but the first four verses are attributed to the woman. Let me kiss the kisses of his mouth, for your love is better than wine. And then the second half basically of verse 4 is attributed to the friends, or to the people. And it says, we will exult and rejoice in you, we will extol your love more than wine. And and then starting on verse 5, it is again the woman speaking. And verse 8 then is the friends again. She's talking in verses 5 through 7, and then verse 8, if you don't know, O fairest of women, how would we know, basically. And then verse 9 starts with the man speaking. And so it goes back and forth. So then again, so the man speaks in verses 9 through 11, and the woman then starts, 12 through 14. The man speaks just 1 verse 15, the woman 16, the man again 17. And so we've got a little bit of the conversation going back and forth. And when I think about that, some people attribute this as relationship between God and the Israelites. The Israelites' response to God is a little bit harder for me to see that way. But the man, says he compares his love in verse 9 to the mare among Pharaoh's chariots, and she's adorned with jewels and dressed nicely and looking good, and then the man. When a woman talks about the man, he's a dashing warrior, and it sometimes seems almost kind of fairy tale like. In verses 15 through 17, 15, you are beautiful, my love, you are beautiful, your eyes are like doves. I mean, who'd want their eyes to be compared to birds? I'm just kind of being sarcastic there, if you couldn't tell. And then verse 16 is the woman speaking. You are beautiful, my lovely, truly beautiful. And then the man, I don't understand. Our couch is green, the beams of our home are cedar, our rafters are pine. And So it's, we have a nice home. It's a solidly built, and maybe they're talking about the foundation of their love. The foundation, is that, and then the verse chapter 2, the woman says, "I am the rose of Sharon, the lily of the valleys," and then the man responds, "As a lily among the brambles, so is my love among the maidens." She is so much more beautiful, a lily among the brambles. It's the blooming rose among the thorns. But she is maybe you could say the apple of his eye. That way. And that's what it says, verse 30, "An apple tree among the trees, so is my beloved among young men." And so this is again the woman speaking. But it's like a fruit tree, an apple tree, or in the middle of the forest. I mean, here all of a sudden is this one that's different. It's the one that has something for you, and hopefully, in your life, you have found that one who has that something extra for you, that one that you look for, that you search out, that's different than the crowd, different than the rest. So verses 3 through 13 basically are the woman talking again, and then in verse 14, the man again begins to speak, and I don't know how they differentiate that. I mean, sometimes it doesn't seem that much difference, and some have actually, attributed, different things to different people too. I mean, there's a lot of different interpretations that could be there. But verse 16 is definitely the woman speaking. My beloved is mine, and I am his. He pastures his flocks among the, and so she's, singing his praises. And in chapter 3 is kind of the woman's dream. And, so when I look at that and I think about, when you're growing up, you dream of what you want to be. You dream of your knight in shining armor, or, as a man, you dream of the perfect woman you're going to find. We don't call them the princess or whatever, but we dream of that ideal. And so the chapter 3 is mostly dealing with the woman's dream of her husband, of the man she's looking for, and then, at the end of chapter 3, she invites her friends, to come. "O daughters of Jerusalem, come. O look, daughters of Jerusalem, at King Solomon." So here's definitely is talking about King Solomon. So again, people will say that it's about Solomon and a bride. And then chapter 4, the man starts speaking again. "How beautiful you are, my love, how very beautiful. Your eyes are, again, doves behind a veil. Your hair is like a flock of goats moving down the slope of Gilead." That language just doesn't do a whole lot for me, But I suppose a flock of goats moving down the hill of Gilead would be a flowing and moving scene. I mean, these goats are sure-footed among the rocks, and you could probably see the patterning in there. I'm not sure. But some of the pictures that you get, are, your teeth are like a flock of shorn ewes who have come up from washing, and, I guess shorn ewes are much more attractive than when they're all full of matted and dirty wool and everything that way. But so it's just, there's a lot of imagery that can play with our minds that way. And so the majority of chapter 4 is the man speaking, but the last 2 verses are attributed again to the woman. And then chapter 5, which we'll look at tomorrow, goes back to man. But, "Awake, my O north wind, and come, O south wind. Blow upon my garden. Let my beloved come to his garden and eat of his choicest fruits." So it's a woman yearning for her husband to come and to be with her, and to enjoy the pleasures of being together that way. And so Song of Solomon is one of those different books that, as you read it, there's a lot of imagery, a lot of pictures that come to mind, and I can really, I mean, I think about, you know, God's continuing love for His people Israel, and Israel's continual yearning for God to be with them and watch out for them, and as we all want God's presence, to be in God's presence and to be in God's grace are such an important thing.